Hello again. In the previous video, the book described some of the sources that are supposed to be the origins of speech. We talked about some of the features and description that are related to the divine source, and then we moved to talk about the natural sound source, and we ended the video with the social interaction source. In this video, it is supposed to cover the rest of the assumptions and speculations that are related to the origins of speech, starting with the physical adaptation source. With this source, the major focus or the focal point is not going to be on the types of the sounds that are humans able to produce. However, majorly, this source focuses on the physical features that humans possess. Now, these are responsible for what? For clearer and deeper explanation to the origins of speech and to speech production. The book, or the first paragraph of this source, starts with the ability of humans to use an upright postures with bipedal locomotion. It means that the ability to stand on feet as well as using 1 foot to stand on. So this is one thing. The other thing is that the skeleton of the skull of a gorilla and that of the Neanderthal man is different also. I mean, the construction of the skulls is also distinct from that of a gorilla. Here we are also, after knowing some of these reconstructed vocal tract of that man, which suggests that this man or that man was able to produce some consonant-like sounds that are distinct from those which are produced maybe by other types of species. Even the fossilized skeleton, al-haykel al-'azmi, of a normal human being evolved to be nowadays as the ones that we are on, is also different from the one that the apes were too. These physical features based out of partial adaptations which appear to be relevant for speech. Okay? This is not my claim, actually. This is the claim of those who put this source as one of the assumptions of the origins of speech. Okay? Now, to start with, here we have the teeth and lips. Let's know some of the features of teeth of lips of humans and how they are different from other types or other creatures. Now, human teeth are upright, شكل عمودي, not slanting, مائلة, outwards like those of apes, and they are roughly even in height. Such characteristics, now these features, are not very useful for ripening or tearing food and seem better adapted for grinding and chewing. They are also helpful in what? I mean, the positioning and the structure of teeth of humans, they are not used only for grinding food or chewing food, but they are also helpful in making sounds such as f or v. This is one. The second part of the teeth and lips, here we have to talk about the lips, which are a much more intricate muscle interlacing than is found in other primates, and their resulting flexibility certainly helps in making sounds like p, b, and me. Which means what? The muscles that are in the lips are more complicated than those found in gorilla or in apes. So the muscles and let's say the number of muscles that are found in the lips of a normal human being enables that human to produce some of the consonant sounds like p, b, and me. Now, b and me sounds are most widely asserted in the vocalizations made by human. Now, these abilities are only found with a human. So other type or other species, they have lips, but the number of the muscles in the lips are less than those found in humans. So now these enable the humans to produce more complicated sounds like the ones illustrated in front of you. The second one is about mouth and tongue. Now, the human mouth is relatively small compared to other primates and can be opened and closed rapidly. Now, the humans are able to close and open their mouth in a very rapid way, very rapidly. This feature is not found with other types or other primates. Now, the extended vocal tract that has much more of a L shape. Now the vocal tract in humans are taking L shape. They are like letter L, not like those with other types also of species, which are very straight, عمودية, from front to back in other mammals. Now, in contrast, to the very thin flat tongue. Now the تسطح اللسان is also something unique with the humans of other large primates. Humans have what? A shorter, thicker, and more muscular tongue. This is very important for producing sounds, for the construction and production of sounds, because of the flatness and the big number of muscles that are found in the human's tongue. This feature or these features enable humans to produce more complicated, more instrument sounds, to shape a wide variety of sounds inside the oral cavity. Now, this is not the end. Unlike other primates, humans can close off the airway through the nose to create more air pressure in the mouth. Now, sounds like and are very unique for humans because humans are capable of closing off the airway to stop the airway. يعني قادرين على أن يتحكموا بمجرى الهواء through the nose to be produced either from the nose, nasal cavity, or from the oral cavity, من التجويف الأنفي or من التجويف الفمي. So for these three consonants are also produced through the nasal cavity, of course. This is what it means that we are able as humans to control the path or the stream of the air to be pushed either by the nasal cavity or by the oral cavity. Now, the overall effect of these small differences, taken together, if we collect all these pieces to put them in one basket, then the result is in a face with a more intricate muscle, معقد, interlacing in the lips and mouth, capable of what? Of a wider range of shapes. Even the shape of the mouth is flexible. So we have the wide open mouth, we have the round mouth, or so ever. Wider range of shapes and more rapid and powerful delivery of sounds. This enables humans to deliver and to produce sounds which are more complicated, as we stated, than those compared to other primates. The third point of comparison is the larynx and pharynx, which means the الحنجرة والبلعوم. Now, the human larynx, or the, let's say, the voice box containing the vocal التي تحتوي على الحبال الصوتية, vocal cords, differs significantly in position. So now we are talking about the position of the vocal cords inside the larynx from the larynx of other primates such as monkeys. Now this is again another comparison between humans and monkeys. In the course of human physical development, the assumption of an upright posture moved the head. Now the ability to move the head in different positions more directly above the spinal column, العمود الفقري, and the larynx dropped to a lower position. Now, the book is here describing some of the features of the human's larynx. This created what? A longer cavity called the pharynx, البلعوم, above the vocal cords فوق الحبال الصوتية أو المجاري الصوتية, which act as a resonator for increased range. Now these features of the larynx and pharynx in terms of positions help the human to produce increased range and clarity of the sounds. The sounds that are produced by humans are clearer than those produced by monkeys or by other types of species, like the apes, as we talked about, of sounds produced via the larynx and the vocal tract. Now, these boxes enable the human to produce clearer and more understandable sounds than those created by others. Other primates have almost no pharynx. This is very important that these monkeys maybe, monkeys is one of the examples, of course. No pharynx, they have no pharynx to enable them to clarify the sounds produced. One unfortunate consequence of this development is that the lower position of a human larynx, now the position, whether it is lower or higher or upright, it is by the end something very plausible for humans. The lower position of a human larynx makes it much more possible for a human to choke. Now, although these are responsible for producing clearer sounds, still there is the danger of choking on a piece of food, right? Monkeys may not be able to use their larynx, this is true, to produce speech sounds, but they do not suffer from choking food, from the problem of getting food stuck. يعني لا يتوقف الطعام في البلعوم عند القردة in their wild or windpipe. In evolutionary terms, there must have been a big advantage in getting this extra vocal power to outweigh the potential disadvantage from an increased risk of choking. Now, the risk of choking food, this is in one basket, and the second one, since we have larynx and pharynx, this might be for humans, make humans in danger of choking with our own food. But for monkeys, they do not suffer from such disadvantage. Now, the fifth assumption is related to the tool making source. A similar development is believed to have taken place with the human hands, and some believe that manual gestures may have been a precursor means al-aslaf of language, means the old languages. Now, in this source, are going to describe, in short, as an introduction to this source, now how humans are able to use their hands in making tools for fishing or for making their living. The humans are able to produce these tools, meaning that they use their brain to produce and then to develop these tools for different uses. We will see in further details things that are related to human brain. But to have more details or detailed information, you may go to chapter 12 and read all about how the human brain is divided into hemispheres and how each hemisphere is responsible for the conception of speech or the comprehension of speech, as well as the production of speech. Now, first of all, this subsection talks about the let's say some of the features of a human brain. And as I said a second ago, you can go to chapter 12 to know or to get more and more details about the human brain organization. Now, in general, the human brain is not that large one compared to the human body. Okay, it's also lateralized, that is, it has specialized functions. Now, when we talk about the lateralization of the human brain, we talk about how each of the hemispheres is responsible for producing or functioning some features that are different from the second hemisphere, and each of these two hemispheres. Now, those functions that control the motor movement involved in complex vocalization. Vocalization means here the ability to speak or to produce speech, and object manipulation, which means to make or using the tools. Now we are going to talk about the connection between human speaking ability and the human's ability to make tools. Now these tools were produced because what? Because the human has the brain that enables him or her to produce or to manufacture some tools that are good for making their living, and very close to each other. These hemispheres, let's say, or these abilities, these functions are very close in the left hemisphere of the brain. Means here we have what? Two hemispheres. We have the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, each of which has got its own function. That is, the area of the motor cortex that controls. Now, in between these two hemispheres, we have an area, and this area is called the motor cortex. The motor cortex is responsible for controlling the muscles of the arms. Now, we are able now to move our arms or hands, or even we can make some facial expressions, and we make our own gestures. But these, as muscles, are controlled by what is called the motor cortex. Where is the motor cortex? It is between the two hemispheres, the right and the left hemisphere. So now this motor cortex is responsible for controlling the muscles of the arms, the hands, is next to the articulatory muscles of the face, jaw, and tongue. It may be that there was an evolutionary connection between the language using, and this is the point that I raised in the beginning of the paragraph. It means here there is the language use and the tool using abilities of a human or humans that both were involved. Now, both these two functions are involved in what? In the development of the speaking brain, the development of producing speech. Most of other speculative proposals concerning the origins of speech seem to be based on a picture of humans producing single noises to indicate objects in their environment. More importantly is to move to the highlighted lines right here. Now, this activity may indeed have been a crucial stage in the development, يعني مرحلة انتقالية مهمة جدا in the development of language في تطور اللغة. This is because the humans were able to produce tools, and this is connected also with what? With their ability to develop their own ability to speak or to produce sounds, and these sounds connected to be words and so on. But what it lacks is any structural organization. All languages, now listen, including sign language, require the organizing and combining of sounds. Now, basically, when we want to speak, of course, we base our own speech when in talking about the evolution, the development of speech or human speech. We should start with the sounds. Then we move to more complicated assumptions. Now, sounds or signs in specific arrangements. We seem to have developed a part of our brain. Now, because we are able as humans, we are able to develop our brain, it means that we are able to develop our own speech. A part of our brain that specializes in making these arrangements. This is not from scratch. The development of a speech has not come from scratch. لم يأتي من فراغ, but by the development of the brain as well. In addition, in terms of language structure, the human may have first developed a naming ability. This is a direct connection with the divine source that we talked about in the previous video. And the naming ability by producing a specific and consistent noise. The book proceeds to talk or to bring some examples. These examples that are found here in the last lines of this paragraph, the production of the word, for example, beer, can be later connected with different objects, beer good, good beer, and some other examples, then it is also later developed to be in form of a sentence. This beer is good. So this is not very actually very important to talk about the evolution of or development of the single sound into sentences, because this video is not dedicated to talk about or to talking about these assumptions, but to know more about the origins or the speculations that are concerned with the origins of human language. Now, the genetic source is going to be the sixth and last source that are explained or described in the first chapter of the book. We can think of human babies. Now, the first example to talk about the development of the brain, as we stated a minute ago, we can think of a human baby in its first few years as a living example, كمثال حي of some of these physical changes taking place. It means the physical changes of the brain as well as the ability to produce speech. At birth, the baby's brain is only a quarter of its eventual weight. Now, this is talking about the weight of the brain of a baby, which is going to be weighter in the next years. And the larynx is much higher. Now, this is about the early position of the larynx when we first born. The position of the larynx is different from in the throat is different from let's say mature human, or from adults, let's say, is much higher in the throat. You see here, the position of the larynx is much higher. This feature allows a human or allows babies to what? Like chimpanzees. Now we are what? In the beginning, in the first birth, or the first few years of living, human babies are similarly found to have the same position of those of the chimpanzees, and when talking about the position of the larynx. Now, to breathe and drink at the same time. Human babies do not choke when they drink as well as when they breathe. They are able to breathe and drink. But with adults, this possibility is going to be faded because of the change in the position of the larynx. In a relatively short period of time, the larynx descends, تبدأ بالنزول, and the brain develops, and then the brain develops as well. The child assumes an upright posture and starts walking and talking. Okay. This set of developments, I mean the development of the position of the larynx as well as the development of the brain, have the complexity the young child's language have led some scholars, you see here, to look for something more powerful than small physical adaptation. Now, the physical adaptation is not the end of the code, but we have something that is related to our genetic as a human. These genetics enable, or these genes enable the human to develop their own brain, which results in what? In the development of speech. Physical adaptation of the species over time as the source of language. Now, this is what a refutation to the physical adaptation of the human species as the origin of humans, the origins of language of humans, of course. Even children who are born deaf, okay, they also can develop some sort of speech when using their sign language. So this is actually what stopped scholars to think deeper about the source or the origin of our own language. Now, this gives the appropriate circumstances very clearly in life. This seems to indicate. It means what here, before I proceed talking about or describing the left paragraphs in this unit, it is, of course, very important to understand that the sources, the 5 sources up to now, the 5 sources except the genetic source, this is something related to participate here and there in development or in the in investigating the origins of speech. But they are not enough actually to decide what is the origin of speech unless we go or we arrive at the end of the video. What? To become fluent in sign. It is innateness. It is now about the innateness. Innateness means الفطرية أو الشيء الفطري. No other creatures seem to have it. This isn't tied to a specific variety of language. Is it possible? This is a question raised by the book about how we are as genetically hardwired when we were born in our early years of living. Now, as a solution to the puzzle, this is very shaky actually, because still we don't know how to set this puzzle of the origin of language. This innateness hypothesis فرضية الفطرية التي يمتلكها الإنسان, of course, would seem to point فطرية in which way would seem to point to something in human genetics. This is about the human genetics, possibly a crucial mutation. Now, of course, it will be here a turning point. The innateness hypothesis of having the ability to speak is very significant in the development and in the investigation of the origins of a human language. This would not have been a gradual change, but something that happened rather quickly. We are not sure when this proposed genetic change might have taken. Still, scholars and scientists do not know the development of the genetic the proposal indicates here. The change might have taken place, when the change is taken place, or how it might relate to the physical adaptation or adaptations described earlier. There is a connection, but the starting point of this turning connection, or the turning key in the development of the human genetic, is not fixed yet. However, as we consider this hypothesis, we find our speculations about the origins of a human moving away from fossil evidence or the physical source of basic human sounds towards what? The analogies with how computers work. This is connected exactly with the prediction, or with the early prediction of computer, and how computers behave in terms of the programming. It means here what? The pre-program. The innateness hypothesis means what? That we are pre-programmed to use, or to, let's say, to produce language. Now, this is exactly identical to the computers. Now, the computers, as you know, are pre-programmed to do something, and concepts taken from the study of genetics. Of course, there are hundreds of studies that are concerned with the genetics and the development of genetics, especially with the humans. The investigation of the origins of language then turns into a search for the special language gene. Now, this is about a gene اللغوي that only humans possess. Now, of course, other species, except the humans, have not the ability to use or to activate the language gene, except the humans. They are able to develop and to possess this gene that enables their language, the human language, to develop more and more. Now, if we are indeed the only creatures with this special capacity for language, this is very important to speculate about what to come, and to expect what to come for the next chapter, chapter 2. Then, will it be completely impossible for any other creatures? Is this unique facility for humans to develop or to have the language gene gives us the ability to decide that it is not possible for other creatures to produce or understand language? These answers, or the answer of this question, will be found, inshallah, in chapter 2, which is going to be our own next investigation. Thank you very much for listening and watching.